Hello, everyone. Welcome. Here we are again with another pre-show. Gather round. Gather round.
And occupy every single one of the high-backed seats in the center, the expensive ones. They're carefully maintained for you guys because you pay for the privilege. And I have to say, you look the part. I tell you, they look like they've come for an ice cream social at some Episcopal church about 1910. The guys are all in seersucker with their boater hats and Panamas. The ladies are all in their summer dresses. It's not that warm over there, is it yet? Is it?
It's 90s. Yeah, it's getting there for sure.
Oh, well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, never mind. I guess you're justified. Here, the Austrians say May is the tricky month. Because literally, it was warm and pleasant today. Yesterday, it was cold and rainy. The day before, it was warm and pleasant. It goes sometimes in one day, and you're never quite sure what to wear.
So you saw the patrons, and they triggered an image in your mind of 1910 Episcopal parish ice cream social.
In the summer, yeah.
Where did that? What did you encounter that initially put that image in your mind?
Well, simply that the at that time, I mean, it's casual elegance for an event that is in itself both casual and elegant. An ice cream social was quite the event in 1910, and the Episcopalians, as with most, shall we say, non-religious entertainment, but kind of churchy, were the kings of it.
Well, that's what I'm kind of trying to map out. So around that time, obviously, I mean, let's think of what's going on. There's no refrigerators.
No,
There's
no, there are ice boxes.
Yeah, because my grandfather, when came, he's had humble beginnings. He had Franchini's Ice. He had an ice company, because so it's not simply let's open a cup of ice cream, from Breyers
No.
you know what I mean. So it's like, were there even ice cream companies, or did you have to make your own ice cream at that time? Like, what's the environment like there?
There were ice cream companies, but usually people made their own. And there was an ice cream making device that you.
I did that in summer camp once. Yeah, you get the ice, and then you get the sugar and the milk and
all that. And so they would do that. And of course, obviously it would be made with real cream and sugar and syrup, a flavoring of some kind, vanilla, and they go to town and make the ice cream.
Why'd you go Episcopal on this one?
Because of the whole elegant piece.
More elegant. Oh yeah, I guess Catholics would be lower class. It would be more.
For the most part, there'd be a few places where they wouldn't be, but for the most part, the upper crust in America in 1910 were Episcopalian. The Catholics who were upper crust had kind of a weird relationship with their class brethren.
Yeah, how did that go?
Well, I mean, very often they were converts from Anglicanism themselves, or they were from old Maryland families or old Louisiana families that had, shall we say, a not entirely friendly relationship with the regular Episcopalian set. And then, of course, there were rich Irishmen.
Of course, yeah. Well, but Catholic ones? I thought the rich ones were the Protestants.
No, they had rich Catholics. I mean, you had people like the Bradys and the Buckleys who made their money on oil or on shipping. People like the Kennedys who made it on bootlegging and drugs and prostitution. What?
Okay, I get it now.
Well, no, I mean, elegance is elegance, right?
Yes, absolutely. All right.
In the immortal words of the late lamented Brother Leonard Mary's Irish lawyer father, who was blessed with 3 sisters who considered themselves very, very elegant because their father was a judge, you see, the first Irish Catholic judge in Massachusetts. So to annoy his sisters, brother's father would say, "Ain't we elegant?" Oh, stop that! Stop that, Fred. Ah, well, you know. He put on a thick brogue, which he didn't actually have. He was a Harvard man. But he put on the brogue to annoy his sisters, you know, and he thought they were kind of getting a little too big for their britches, you know. And brother actually heard one of his aunts say, and I quote, "We are elegant people, you know."
Wow.
So you can understand why the father would occasionally drop bombs into that particular family circle.
Yeah.
Ain't we elegant?
All right.
There was a comic strip dedicated to this kind of dynamic called Bringing Up Father. And it was about a wealthy Irishman and his wife. He'd made big money somehow, I forget how. He was called Jiggs, and his wife was Maggie. And she was a social climber. They still had it when I was a kid, actually, but it went back to the teens in terms of how long the stripping was going. And, you know, she made him dress in a morning coat constantly. But he wanted, you know, to go out for a bear and some corned beef and cabbage, don't you know? And his wife, Maggie, would be all over him against his low companions and that kind of thing. Jiggs and Maggie.
That was just in the normal comic strip in the newspapers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, we used to have something in America. It was called, hold on, it's been a while. I remember we had it. It's called, humor.
Oh, like the Good Humor Man.
Like, sort of, only it didn't always wear a white uniform. But what it did was it made fun of and laughed at real life situations. So you couldn't do that now because somebody would feel hurt.
That's right. That's very true.
They'd be, how could you say that? That's so awful. Jiggs is an Irish American, and Maggie loves opera, and what's wrong with that? Well, my little munchkins, explaining humor to people who are too stupid to understand it is a fool's employ. And since I try to avoid being a fool, I'm not going to try to explain.
I like jokes.
I didn't say you.
No, I'm making fun of people who
I like. Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
If you're in the position to say that and you say that,
Yeah. Well, I mean that's on a par like saying we are normal people. You know, if you gotta say it,
exactly.
Forget it.
Exactly.
It's no. If you gotta say I like jokes, yeah, I get your point. It's oh like, really? Okay. So there was this Jewish rabbi, this Catholic priest, and this Protestant. Stop! Oh, I thought you liked jokes, not racist jokes that make hurtful comments about people.
We were missing the hands. You got away from the hands. You know, we were missing that. You know what I mean? The flailing,
the ineffectual flailing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this is someone who really has no control over anything. He's just like, yeah. It's basically the infantile behavior of a would-be adult. As I like to say, you know, my generation did something miraculous.
Oh, right, yeah. Go on.
Yeah. We grew old without ever growing up. That's quite an accomplishment if you think about it. Our bodies are going to pieces, but we're still as infantile as we were as children.
The first generation of its kind.
In a sense, yeah. Sort of like Peter Pan, only without the eternal youth. Just the eternal childishness. Not eternal childhood. Eternal childishness. Change me? Change me?
Wow, that's...
What? I don't really want to be changed. I'm fine. I can do some things I can still do myself.
All right.
What? I'm just saying.
No, for some reason that made me think of Benjamin Button, where it's like it's in reverse. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but see, the difference with Benjamin Button is he started out old
Yeah.
and he got younger and younger.
Yeah.
We started out infantile and stayed there. It's only our bodies that fell to pieces.
Yeah.
And by infantile, just so you'll know, I unfortunately we did discover, we did go through puberty. That part we got down, but in a very infantile way, which is why it's difficult for us to stay married and things like that.
Yeah.
It's very hard, trying to do adult stuff like keeping lifelong promises, because that's for grown-ups,
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not there yet.
No. All right. Questions.
Answers.
Question from Timothy.
Answer to Timothy.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna scratch that, and we're gonna do something completely impromptu. I didn't even prep you for this. I saw this in the queue. I've been excited to do it, but if you're gonna give me trouble like this, Charles, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this special for the patrons.
I'm not going to give you trouble. I'm here to help.
Okay, here we go. We have not prepped for this at all, ladies and gentlemen. This is a patron pre-show special, which I'm just pulling. Yeah.
And also, we don't want you to think that Mommy and Daddy are arguing.
Oh, well, that's
you'll feel insecure.
Yeah, no.
We don't want you to do that, especially those of you who are my age.
Okay, so here we go. Are you ready, Charles?
I am so ready I can barely stand it.
All right. I'm actually really excited. All right, from Andrew, who submitted so many good things. He says, I will often think of random questions throughout the week that I think would be interesting for Charles to expound upon. Rather than submit a litany of complex questions, I thought it might be fun to do a kind of lightning round, where I give the name of some sort of cultural reference, and Charles, in a word or two, can say what first jumps to mind when he hears it. These
all right,
have.
But is this Andrew from New Jersey?
We have a bunch of Andrews, so I'm not sure. It just says right. No, it's not Andrew from New Jersey. The person who now self-identifies as Andrew from New Jersey, I don't think this is him.
All right.
So, okay, so he says, yeah, so in a word or two, say what first jumps to your mind when you hear it. These have all been in the front of my mind lately, so this, I believe, will be quite instructive. Charles, are you ready?
Yeah, but it's like a Rorschach test. All right, fine. I don't care. Word association.
Okay, go. Number 1.
All right.
Harry Truman.
Annoying.
Doris.
Annoying Freemason.
Okay. All right. Doris Day.
Lovely and sad.
The Cultural Revolution in China.
Disgusting.
American singer Johnny Ray.
God, but not forgotten.
Okay. Number 5, the Broadway musical South Pacific.
With Lola wants, Lola gets.
Right. Walter Winchell.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea.
All right, number 7, Joe DiMaggio.
Where did you go?
Number 8.
A nation turns its lonely eyes to you.
Senator Joe McCarthy.
Tailgunner Joe.
Wow. Richard Nixon.
He is not a crook.
Studebakers.
Wonderful.
Television becoming...
It lasted forever.
Television becoming ubiquitous in the 1950s.
Frightening.
The origins of the Korean War.
American weakness.
Marilyn Monroe.
My birth. She was in the hospital at the same time I was born. Doctor's Hospital.
That's right. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg.
Better living through electricity.
Oh, that's horrible, Charles. That's horrible. You're a monster.
Old Sparky did the trick.
Wow. Okay. All right. Next, he has the H-bomb.
Thank God it didn't work, or wasn't dropped, or whatever.
Sugar Ray Robinson.
Hard hitter.
I don't know how to say this well. Panmunjom.
Oh, Panmunjom. Still crazy after all these years.
Marlon Brando.
Stella! Stella!
The King and I.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
The Catcher in the Rye.
Salazar.
Hmm.
Get a body, kiss a body, catch it through the rye. I put together Salazar and Burns. Sue me. Who's next? What's next?
Dwight Eisenhower.
Uncle Ike was our American pal, and no one said a word about the Suez Canal.
Wow. Okay. Vaccines.
Keep them away.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Long may she reign.
Rocky Marciano.
Hard-hitting hook.
Liberace.
Lots of wavy hair. Like Liberace, Mr. Sandman. Bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him a heart like Pagliacci. And lots of wavy hair like Liberace.
Number 20, the final one. George Santayana.
Oh, golly, conservative atheist.
Hmm.
You know what's funny about this? I almost feel like I was listening to Billy Joel singing "We Didn't Light the Fire."
Hmm.
But it's been burning since the world's been turning.
Yep.
Did I tell you I had to, because of the COVID thing, I had to get retested?
Yes.
Down at the medical center.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that you'd get tested at the medical center.
Yeah, on Sullivan Street.
Did you stop by someplace afterwards?
Yeah, Mr. Cacciatore's.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll never guess who was tending bar.
John at the bar. He's a friend of mine.
No, it wasn't his shift. It was Sergeant O'Leary. But John says hi. He gives you your drinks for free. All right, fine.
All right. Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
I actually, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to submit that kind of thing again, non-prepped, I would be happy to do it. That sounded like a lot of fun. I mean, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
So, yeah, thank you, Andrew. That's kind of a little innovation there, spice things up. We very much appreciate that.
You know the Rosenberg's last words?
Their actual last words, or what? Okay, what were their last words, Charles?
Snap, crackle, pop.
Gosh, you're just so...
What? What?
Rice Krispies.
Snap, crackle, pop. The cereal, the only cereal backed by the Rosenbergs.
Wow.
Julius and Ethel, I do have to say one thing about them, and that is that, you know, for years they were considered martyrs. You know, and they did that book with the great actor Timothy Hutton called The Book of Daniel, and, you know, they're considered martyrs and all this. Well, you don't hear that anymore, just like you don't hear about Alger Hiss anymore.
That's true.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Well, when the Soviet Union fell, they opened up the KGB files. And you know what they find out? Ooh, Julius and Ethel and Alger were spying for the Soviet Union. Ooh. So you see, sometimes the bad guys aren't bad. They know what they're doing. I think I may have mentioned on the show or not, but when I was a boy in Hollywood, we had all heard the story that the KGB were using the newsstand at Hollywood and Cahuenga as a drop. We'd all heard it, and we all thought it was ridiculous. You know, what are they stealing? Movie scripts? Ha, 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 ha. KGB files are opened up. Guess what?
They used it.
They did, but not for movie scripts. What it was aerospace secrets from the companies in the San Fernando Valley.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to bear in mind, there was a communist menace, ladies and gentlemen. And sitting here right next door to Eastern Europe and being constantly reminded of the terrible things communism did where it took over, hearing the little munchkins back home praising communism because of the worthless scumbags who taught them at university, it's very painful. I mean, honestly, it's like hearing people praise the Nazis. It really is. So if you're the victim of having to listen to this sort of stuff, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to just wish them a hearty Sieg Heil.
Okay, so first question is from Timothy. He says, "Hi, Vincent and Charles. As a new patron, I want to let you know I've thoroughly enjoyed the content and also enjoyed the privilege of the expensive seats in the theater."
Well, we keep them dusted just for you guys.
My question is, if either of you know of a good historical book for Salazar, preferably with a Catholic perspective.
Yes. It came out in 1939. I would recommend Michael Derrick's The Portugal of Salazar. Which is just what it sounds like.
Yep. We looked it up before the show. It's on archives.org. It's available. I think one of those, cheap rip-off presses has published it too on Amazon, where they just sort of do a facsimile of each page, yeah. So those are the options.
It's funny. I think it was actually called Cheap Rip-Off Press, Inc.
I've been thinking of asking, does the Venerable Charles recommend any books on... Oh, question from James, excuse me. James asks, I have been thinking of asking, does the Venerable Charles recommend any books on the history of the Holy Roman Empire? He may have already.
I have done, but I'll recommend it again. James Viscount Bryce. Viscount looks like Viscount if you've been to American schools. And Bryce is spelled Bryce. It's also on archive. It's called, just in case you're wondering, The Holy Roman Empire. And it is the best book available on the Holy Roman Empire. Now, there's been a couple that have come out recently, which might be good, but I haven't read them.
It's not just a book. I mean, that's like saying the liturgical year is a book. Isn't it multi-volume?
No, it's only
no?
one big fat volume.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 1,000 pages or something.
Yeah, but it's in one volume.
One volume.
Big.
Oh, okay.
It's a thick thing. The other thing that I can recommend is a book by a fellow called Klaus Epstein, called no relation to the fellow with the pedophile island.
Right.
Klaus Epstein, not whatever the other guy was named. That's one island that Gilligan and the crew would not want to get marooned on. But at any rate, so it's called The Genesis of German Conservatism by Klaus Epstein. And the reason why I recommend it is because it talks in great detail about the arguments for and against preserving the Holy Roman Empire toward the end of its life.
What were the arguments against?
It's passé. It stands in the way of German unity. that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not modern.
Yeah.
And then of course, there was the big question, too, when the Emperor Francis II abdicated the throne, having already made himself Emperor of Austria 2 years earlier, and quote-unquote releasing the estates from their allegiance. It's been pointed out both by Bryce and by Epstein that action was actually ultra vires, kind of like what so many of our bishops in hierarchy and the Holy See tend to do these days. That is to say, you can abdicate a throne, but you can't abolish the throne you're abdicating.
That's very true.
Yeah. So the idea then is that legally, the Holy Roman Empire sort of continues to exist as a kind of disembodied spirit, waiting to be called back to life, which in a sense is where it was between 476 and 800 in the West, and 1453 and 15 something in the East. Today being the feast of Blessed Constantine XI, who died May 29th, 1453, defending Constantinople against the Turks.
Rebirth is today.
Yep, it starts here, it starts now. From Constantinople, from Aachen, from Rome and Ravenna, from St. Petersburg, from Moscow, from Constantinople. The empire goes forth. The eagle has two heads. Vivat Imperator! Okay. Everybody excited now? I hope so.
We're excited.
We're ready for the march. The march on where? I don't know. The march on Duarte. I don't know. We'll take the old spaghetti factory and plant the double eagle flag over it.
Oh man. All right. You have those micronation people excited now. That's a thing.
Oh, the micronation gang. Now, what is the difference between micronationals and LARPers, do you think?
Well, I mean,
I think that's a fair question. I'm not being demeaning.
well, I would just say that there's a subsection of LARPers. I mean,
I see.
But I mean, there are micronations out there. There's like repurposed like oil platform that has been liberated and stuff like that.
There's the island of Minerva.
Yeah.
Which was a coral reef that got a concrete pile put on it.
So
that was back in the 70s, and the Kingdom of Tonga was so upset they invaded.
So I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, a micronation. So
So you would say a micronation is more real than LARPing.
I don't know. I just don't feel like I don't understand the real purpose of micronations in a sense. Like I've actually talked to micronation people, and it's like, well, just start a company. Like.
Yeah, but there's smaller countries that way, and that's why they're called micronations because they're little.
Or you don't even need to start a company. Start a family. That's the best way for slave labor. I mean, come on.
Wait. We'll see. They'd have to get married to. Well, firstly, you'd have to leave your mom's basement.
I mean, I don't know if you have to. I mean, a little creativity. I mean, okay, I guess you do.
Move to the attic.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anyhow, all right.
We'll
leave the micronation people alone. They're good people.
They are good, and don't take my teasing, ladies and gentlemen, to be condemnation.
Yeah.
I tease a lot, but I usually only tease people I have an affection for.
Yeah.
Which I think you'll admit, won't you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah.
Your brother would admit it.
Absolutely.
Your Uncle Giovanni admitted it.
Yeah, I mean, Charles has been teasing me for years. What's the story where like I'm 5 years old and you said you forgot to spell you forgot the L in Steve or something?
What happened was we went to, this is a true story, ladies and gentlemen. We went to, you weren't 5, but you were little.
Yeah.
And we went to your brother was having a recital.
Yeah.
He was playing the piano. You remember your brother was quite the professional piano player
Absolutely.
in those days.
Yeah.
Which led your uncle to despair of us ever taking over the family. The kid spends his days in pool halls and piano bars. Who ever heard of a made man doing that? Anyway, I digress. So what should happen? But that they had misspelled your brother's name in the you see, you could read at this point, so you couldn't be too tiny.
Yeah.
But they had misspelled your brother's name in the program. And instead of spelling it with Stephen with a PH, they spelled it with a V.
Right.
But you looked at it, and I said, they misspelled your brother's name. And you looked up at me with this trusting little face. You said, how did they misspell it? And I said, they left out the L. And the look of confusion on your face, and your mother just started laughing, and you were like, "What?"
You see that, ladies and gentlemen? I'm a young child, and I'm taking this from Charles. Even a little 6-year-old is not free from this sort of abuse from Charles.
It's not abuse, it's affection.
Oh, man. No one is off limits.
I will never forget the look on your face. So you were so, I mean, you had many emotions all at the same time trying to get out at once. And none of them very helpful, I can tell you.
Yeah.
But that was funny. So that's why we called him Sleeve for the longest time.
Yeah. There you go.
They left out the L. Golly, it does pain chewing through the straps in the morning sometimes.
All right. All right. Question from Superfan Nate.
Nate.
For Charles, I have come to realize through prayer, reflection, and personal experience that life here on earth is such a mess, and getting to heaven is all that matters. I love the things on earth that reflect God and His beauty, but I know they are temporary, and attribute this largely to your influence. So please note...
Wait. He attributes their being temporary to my influence? I don't have that kind of power, Nate. I mean, you know, I'm not a spaceman, famous and renowned. I'm just an ordinary guy with 2 feet on the ground. It's all imagination. I'll never reach the skies. What?
I'm not familiar with that one, actually. There's no way you're not quoting a song there, but I am not familiar.
Oh, no, my heart is still a fireball. A fireball. Every time I look into your starry eyes. It's the third verse.
What? Every time.
I wish I was a spaceman, the fastest guy alive. I'd fly you round the universe in Fireball XL5. Way out in space together, conquerors of the skies. My heart would be a fireball, every time I looked into your starry eyes. A fireball, every time I looked into your starry eyes.
All right.
However, I don't have that kind of power. So I assure you, Nate, that if the things of this world are temporary, and I agree with you that they are, I am not responsible, it's not my fault, and I won't be blamed.
All right. So he says, please know of my prayers. What are some good reading materials from the saints on heaven?
It's funny you should ask, because it so happens that fine publishing house, Tumblr House, actually has a book which is precisely what you need. No, it's not Viscount Bryce's Holy Roman Empire. What the Saints Said About Heaven.
Yes.
Holy Thoughts About Everlasting Life.
Yes. We don't publish this. We do retail it. I believe this is Tan. Yep. Rhonda Shervin. She has a couple other good books.
Yeah, she's great. I like Rhonda.
Joseph
I've met her
Pierce.
a couple times years ago.
Oh, really? Yeah?
Yeah. Well, when she used to teach at TAC.
Yeah, so, I mean, just to give you a little taste of the type of people reading this, you got a Joseph Pierce blurb, quite literally heavenly reading. Father Dwight Longenecker, a book to lift the heaviest heart, full of solid joys and lasting treasure. And then finally, Alice von Hildebrand, a precious treasure of what saints past and present have written about the delights of eternal life. And this is they do a daily thing, so it's not a conventional read per se, but it's a nice little meditation each day. But I actually go through multiple days sometimes when I'm really in the mood.
How much is it?
It's $16.95 on the Tumblr House bookstore.
That means that if he bought that plus something $9 or more, he would get free shipping and handling.
What would go well with that? We've got the Mass and its Folklore for $9, so it would just barely get you over. Nate is a book review guy too, though, so I know he's going to be doing that $5 off extra, that extra $5 off on top of the free shipping and handling, because see, Nate is a super fan of Tumblr House, so he's a wheeler dealer. He knows a good deal, and he's going to take advantage. See, we've showed him how to hustle. See, so he's going to be using all of his life skills here.
Except where they're prohibited, because they're void.
Of course. Any other non-commercial
non-commercial statements? That's fine. Yeah, I mean, of course, the Dante's Divine Comedy, although it's not anything like the writing of a saint, but nevertheless it's useful. The least read is the third portion. Everyone's heard of the Inferno.
Yeah.
And a few people of the Purgatorio, but the Paradiso, the paradise, is actually very much worth reading, not because that's the way heaven really is, but because it does reflect the medieval view of heaven. And so you might find that interesting. Also, trying to remember if Joan Carroll Cruz did a book on angels.
She did. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Angels. I think it is Angels and Devils that she titled. It's $14.95. It's $2 off. The most thorough book about angels yet written. And, it's 300 pages. 44 illustrated pages. That's a pretty good deal. By Tan Books.
Yeah. So they have that. They also have St. Michael and the Angels, which is a devotional book over 30 days.
So, with the, I actually, I constructed the Tumblr House bookstore actually exactly for this purpose. If you go to, the categories listed, oh, wait a minute. Actually, let me share my screen. Maybe I should do that. 1 second. I'm just going to show the people my screen.
If you share the screen, do they get the speakers and the keyboard as well?
No, they do
All
not.
Right.
Okay.
Just check it.
Tumblr House bookstore. So sorry, Charles, you can't see this, but everybody sees. So category. I've specifically organized it so that you have these sorts of things. Like if it's, if you are looking for a category, so you click afterlife, and then we have heaven, purgatory, hell. And I put 4 books for heaven. In heaven, we'll meet again. The Four Last Things, which is a very popular book, which is, what is that? Death, Judgment, Heaven, and Hell. What I just mentioned, What the Saints Said About Heaven. And Mother Angelica on God, His Home, and Angels, which I actually read. And I think I reviewed it. Yeah. 4 stars. Pretty good.
You know, it's funny. Yesterday, I went to a town near here called Luxembourg, which was the site of 3 imperial palaces, one of which Kaiser Karl and his wife lived in during World War One. Yeah. But the parish church, the cupola, is a painting of heaven.
Cupola means painting of heaven?
No, cupola is the inside of the dome.
Oh.
The church has a dome, and the interior of the cupola, the interior of the dome, is a representation of heaven.
Yeah.
But then at the bottom of that is to say, because remember it's a dome, so the level of the regular ceiling, there are around the dome 4 square boxes with representations of death, judgment, the blessed going to heaven, and the damned going to hell. So this is important stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And Nathan, despite my teasing, you're absolutely right to look at things this way. We have not here an abiding city, and nothing lasts.
My favorite quote is from Jim Morrison.
No one gets out of here alive.
I just love it. I've actually been listening to The Doors a lot, and because he's one of those guys, you know, I realize that there's like several people where you can ask them any answer or any question, and you actually don't know what they're going to say. And he's one of those people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can ask them a conventional answer, and they will approach it from such an unusual angle. There's only a handful of people like that in the world, I feel, or at least famous people. I feel like Hunter Thompson is another one of those people where you just ask him, and he'll just, you know, you ask him like a standard question, and you know, I mean,
you could get anything. He actually, as I always like to say about him, he charted the course of my entire career.
Absolutely. Go ahead and say the line.
You know what I'm referring to. When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. And ladies and gentlemen, the going in church and state has gotten real weird. And society. I don't want to put everything on just on our masters.
Okay. I need to get moving on. All right.
Moving on to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
All right. A bunch of questions from Jonathan, top floor executive since 2019, which is an incredible feat. Thank you so much, Jonathan. So
we really appreciate you, and as a result, you will get top flight service, as befits a top flight executive.
Top floor.
Yeah, well, okay. Top flight service for top floor executive.
Top flight is a synonym? I've never heard that. Top flight?
Top flight means, we're talking about 2 different things. Top floor is where his office is. Top flight is the best you can produce.
Okay.
They sound similar, but they're not really related.
All right. Dear Mr. Charles, by the time the stalwart protector, Mr. Vincent, Charles can't be the only one with all the titles.
See?
Reads this during the show, you are over COVID and in good health. Ooh.
Very true. Very true.
Mr. Charles and Mr. Vincent, are either of you Freemasons?
So mote it be, worshipful master. No. No. In fact, I would say that we are perhaps 2 of the least Masonic people you're likely to meet.
That's fair to say, actually, and especially in the publishing world, right? Like, I feel like Tumblr House put out the anti-Freemasonic literature with Solange Hertz, and Charles before anyone else. I mean, we haven't really even got the ball rolling, honestly. We need more to talk about this stuff because I guess people just don't want to think about it.
Well, they do and they don't. What people like to think about are the weird ceremonies and the grotesque oaths and the possibly satanic influence on the very top Masons.
Yeah.
That people enjoy thinking about
Yeah.
to the point of almost being spiritual pornography sometimes.
Yeah.
What they don't want to think about is the deep influence that revealed Freemasonry. So I'm not talking about deep, dark secrets and initiations and so on.
Yeah.
But revealed Freemasonry, that which they allow the public to know, the poisonous effect it has had on us all. And what is that revealed Freemasonry? Conduct over creed. It doesn't matter what you believe as long as you're a nice person. Now, you know, that is what has sunk us. That has been the great solvent for revealed religion. It's dissolved us.
Yeah.
And you know, it's in the English-speaking world, so much of what we hold dear is kind of bound up with it. I love Rudyard Kipling's work, but you know, he has poems like The Mother Lodge and all that. He was a real deep Freemason, not from the standpoint of being highly placed, but really believing its attractive sounding doctrines, which most of us do. I mean, most of us, all of us to some degree, if we live in English-speaking realms, like the United States, where Freemasonry was a big part of our national history. In Britain, until the present Prince of Wales, the top-ranking male of the royal family was the head of the Masonic Order in Britain. Prince Charles refused the job. So it went to a cousin of his, the Duke of Kent, who, ironically, his wife converted to Catholicism, as did one of his sons. The other son married a Catholic. So, I mean, it's very bizarre. But having said that, I always tell people when you're in D.C. or New England, you really want to have a more clear understanding of our history in the United States. You need to go to the George Washington National Masonic Memorial in Alexandria, Virginia. And you need to go to what's now called the Scottish Rite Museum, but for years was called the Museum of Our Heritage in Lexington, Massachusetts, near the battle site. Because that's the great irony. I've had people say to me, oh, how can you have any regard for the British royal family? They're all bound up with the Freemasons. Yeah, I know, Bubby. Just like my own country. And that's, you know, the White House, the Capitol building, etc., were all dedicated and then rededicated with Masonic rites. There's a wonderful Life magazine picture of President Truman at the rededication of the White House in his Masonic apron, you know, doing the thing. And again, I mean, a friend of mine once put it very, very well. Masonry plays the same role in the United States that Catholicism does in Italy and Mexico. And by that, she meant, you know, not all Mexicans or Italians by any stretch are believing, practicing Catholics. But the faith is everywhere in Italy and Mexico, in the culture, in the attitudes. Well, that's how Freemasonry is for us.
It's an animating philosophy. It's honestly the religion of the state. I'm of the opinion that pretty much everyone who is going to hell in the United States or ends up going to hell, it will be in some way because of Freemasonry seeping in some way, Freemasonic influence. So, but I love this. I love this question because it gives me the opportunity for book plugs.
There's now, wait a minute. If you offer more than one, that means they can take advantage of the free shipping and handling.
Oh, that's actually true, Charles. Because, okay, so let's... Wow, okay. So first we've got Humanum Genus, encyclical letter of His Holiness Pope Leo XIII on Freemasonry, 1884. This happened. So this is a condemnation. A lot of people buy that. Why Catholics Cannot Be Masons by John Salazar. This is kind of a lesser known book. But published by Tan. Another one. I think this is like $9. I think this is more like $5. And then this is highly recommended. Star Spangled Heresy, Americanism by Solange Hertz.
How much is that?
This is like $14, I believe, around 14. I mean, this has awesome stuff. I mean, the occult Franklin. Stuff on Benjamin Franklin you are not going to hear anywhere else. Incredible stuff. For example, Franklin had to bully Freemasons to become a Freemason. And Charles,
it's true.
See, I mean, you don't know this stuff. You don't hear this stuff. We whitewash this. We don't even whitewash it. We don't
refer to it. But it's hiding in plain sight, though. It's not hard to prove.
It is. Yeah, this is not conspiracy theory type stuff. This is just there, and ignored. So, highly recommended. This is probably Solange Hertz's best-selling book. You get these 3 books together. I guarantee you get free shipping and handling.
Operators are standing by. Act now while supplies last. Yeah. Be the first on your block.
So, yeah, we are coming up on 50 minutes, and we had more questions planned, but I'm going to table them for now. And also, I'm going to do that so it gives people, like, a little breather, a little opportunity, finish watching this episode, stop by Tumblr House, buy the books, finish up, then there's the full episode. So, nice little chronology right there for you.
The full episode is coming, and I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we have got some bizarre stuff for you today, I promise.
Yes, we do. Stay tuned.
Don't leave those well-upholstered and completely dusted seats. Keep your elegant selves sitting right where you are, and we'll see you momentarily.